After my wife's funeral, someone handed me a small, worn savings passbook she'd hidden for years. My daughter glanced at it and laughed. "Throw it away, Dad." Mom never had money. I almost believed her. But when I brought it to the bank, the room went quiet. The manager looked at me and said, "Please wait here." Even the director stopped cold. That's when I understood some truths don't come find you. You have to go dig them out of the trash yourself. I'm Gregory Walsh, 58 years old. My wife Claudia's last words to me weren't, "I love you." They were, "I'm sorry I couldn't tell you sooner," at her funeral. A colleague named Douglas pressed a manila envelope into my hands and said Claudia had been specific about the timing. Inside was an old passbook from Heritage Community Bank, dated 1988, and a note in her handwriting. "Go to Heritage Community Bank. Ask for Warren Shields. Trust no one else." My oldest daughter, Natalie, took one look and dismissed it. Ancient, probably empty. Mom clipped coupons her whole life. She offered to throw it away for me. I said no. But later that evening, through the kitchen window, I watched her drop it into the trash anyway, then walk outside to meet a man waiting in the driveway. "Did you get it?" he asked. "It's done." "It's garbage," she said. "Your old man doesn't suspect anything." My younger daughter, Hannah, stood frozen by the trash can, saw me watching through the glass, and looked terrified. I couldn't sleep. At 4:30 a.m., I dug through the garbage until I found it, wiped off the coffee grounds, and sat under the stove light reading 37 years of small. Disciplined deposits, $50 here. 100 there, going back to before Hannah was born. The last page stopped me cold. 7 red stamps, each one dated across the past year. Unauthorized access attempt. Someone had tried to break into my dead wife's account 7 times, and the last attempt was 2 weeks before she died. At 9 the next morning, I was standing in Warren Shields' office. He typed for a long moment, then turned his monitor toward me. Current balance, $3,047,612. 37 years of quiet saving, and Claudia had added me as joint holder 3 years ago, right around when the break-in attempt started. Warren slid me a folder of security photos. Every single attempt 7 times was the same woman. My daughter, Natalie. "She wouldn't let us call the police," Warren said. "She said she'd handle it herself." Then he opened a drawer and handed me a key to a safe deposit box Claudia had left instructions for me to open the moment I walked in. Inside the vault were 5 years of journals. Claudia had discovered Natalie forging her signature back in 2020 and started documenting everything rather than confront her, because, as she wrote, "He would never believe his golden child is a thief." She was right. Reading those pages, I relived moments I'd misunderstood for years. A dinner where Hannah revealed Natalie owed her $20,000, and I'd called Hannah jealous for bringing it up. The $30,000, I'd written Natalie on the spot to help. I learned Natalie had spent 2 years telling me Claudia felt neglected. And telling Claudia I felt suffocated, manufacturing a coldness between us that had nearly ended my marriage in silence. When really Claudia had just been terrified of breaking before her case was ready. My phone rang. Hannah, shaking, told me she needed to talk about Natalie and about a man named Derek. 3 years earlier, Natalie and her boyfriend had convinced Hannah to take out an $80,000 loan for a real estate investment that vanished along with Derek. Hannah had spent 2 years paying it off in silence, ashamed, believing no one would believe her either. 8 months ago, the loan had been mysteriously paid off in full. I already knew who by. We met in Washington Park. Hannah pulled up Derek Samuel Morrison's record on her phone, prior convictions for elder fraud in Florida and Arizona, women in both states who'd gone to prison helping him while he vanished. He'd shown up in Colorado in 2019, dated Natalie within a month, and photographed himself outside my house by August. An email Claudia had saved, sent the day she died, read, "The old lady's gone now. We just need to get rid of the passbook and the old man won't know anything. Stick to the plan." We went to the police. Detective Rebecca Stone read Claudia's journals, studied the bank footage, and started connecting Natalie to 3 more elderly victims from her old job as a senior care coordinator. Over $50,000 stolen from people who'd trusted her. "This isn't family drama," Rebecca said. "This is organized crime." 2 days later, I watched from across the street as officers arrested Natalie on her own driveway. She begged me to stop it, called it a misunderstanding, until I read aloud from Claudia's journal, an entry where Natalie had been overheard saying the old woman needed to hurry up and die. Natalie's face went gray. "You're not my daughter anymore," I told her. "My daughter died the day she chose money over her mother." The trial exposed all of it: the forged signatures, the $250,000 borrowed and never repaid, the elderly victims. The 2 years Natalie spent turning Claudia and me against each other. I testified. So did 3 of her victims: Evelyn, who lost her medication money; Raymond, a veteran robbed of his retirement; Irene, Claudia's own friend and neighbor. The jury convicted Natalie on all 10 counts. 6 years in federal prison, full restitution. Derek fled before he could be charged, disappearing across state lines. Grief doesn't announce when it starts turning into purpose. It just does quietly over months. Hannah and I built something out of what was left: the Claudia Coleman Foundation for Elder Protection, funded by the $3 million Claudia had spent her life hiding away. Free legal aid, a hotline, financial literacy workshops. Evelyn, Raymond, and Irene joined as advisors, turning what Natalie had stolen from them into protection for someone else's grandmother. A year later, the FBI finally caught Derek in Mexico. The case that followed revealed he'd run this exact scheme in 6 states, using 7 different women, stealing $8.7 million, leaving one woman dead by suicide in prison, and elderly victims broken across the country. He was sentenced to 18 years. Watching him led away, I didn't feel rage. I felt something closer to pride, because Claudia had seen through him years before the FBI ever did, and she'd done it alone with nothing but a passbook and patience. Natalie wrote to me from prison, an apology that read like the beginning of something real: classes, therapy, a slow reckoning with who she'd become. I didn't answer right away. I'm still not sure I'm ready, but I didn't burn the letter either. 18 months after I found that passbook in the garbage, I sat in Washington Park with Hannah and my 3-week-old granddaughter, Claudia Grace, watching the sun move across the grass. The foundation had helped 150 families by then, recovered over $1 million, and 8 states had adopted our model. Every Sunday, we visit Claudia's grave afterward. Her headstone reads, "She chose truth over comfort. I used to think love meant protecting the people you love from hard questions." Claudia knew better. She knew that real love sometimes means building a case in silence for 5 years, that protection isn't always warmth. Sometimes it's evidence, patiently gathered, waiting for the moment someone is finally ready to see it. If someone in your life leaves you something small and strange and asks you to trust no one else, don't laugh it off. Go find out why.